This program is presented by WGBH Boston. Enterprise is co-produced with Learning Corporation of America.
Well, you might have a pretty girl, you know what I mean? But when you compare her to Bo Derek, one of those, she's like, gets to be number 6. See, this is number 6, this is number 1. Let's go to Saudi Arabia right now. Well, you know my motto, I would prefer a beautiful emerald cut than a...
This man is a diamond merchant. He gambles millions of dollars a day on the turn of a cutting wheel. The value of his diamonds is determined by scarcity, romance, and a powerful cartel. To win, he must play all these to his own advantage. This week on Enterprise, the diamond game.
If you're engaged or married, the chances are 3 in 4 that you have leaned over a counter like this one and gone deeply into debt. I'm Eric Severide. These diamond rings are such an integral part of our romantic rituals that they are big business. We Americans are the cornerstone of the world market, spending $4.5 billion a year on diamonds. What determines their value? Beauty and mystique, to be sure, but also the workings of a market that is unlike all others. This glittering business is manipulated by a giant cartel, DeBeers. For the past 80 years, DeBeers has tried to keep the supply of diamonds low and the demand high. This week on Enterprise, we take a rare behind-the-scenes look at the middlemen of this highly secretive industry, the independent diamond dealers who stand between us and DeBeers. In the process, we'll also find out just whose best friend these diamonds are.
47th Street, Manhattan, center of the New York diamond industry and one of the richest streets in America. On this short block between 5th and 6th Avenue, over $1 billion worth of rough diamonds are cut and polished every year. When sold on the retail market, these gems will more than double in value. Diamonds and cash make this a nervous street. Security here is extremely tight and rarely filmed. For obvious reasons, most of the diamond merchants on the street prefer to remain anonymous. What happens in the offices and cutting rooms above the street is seldom seen by outsiders. The official headquarters of the industry is the Diamond Dealers Club. In the large trading hall on the 9th floor of this building, behind locked and closely guarded doors, diamond merchants deal rough and polished stones in half a dozen languages. The president of the Diamond Dealers Club is William Goldberg, 57. Both a dealer and a manufacturer, Goldberg is heir apparent to the title King of Diamond Street.
You know, from time immemorial, well, I would know about immemorial, but for at least for back into the 16 to 1700s when the diamond industry really got to be more important in Europe, Jews were not permitted to become tradesmen, and consequently they became involved in commerce. And one of the industries that they became involved with was gems, diamonds and jewelry.
Goldberg is in his office by 8. This morning he is joined by his friend and mentor, diamond man Billy Nelkin. Billy is here to help Goldberg decide how to cut a large, rough diamond. Goldberg's Chinese cook, the redoubtable Mr. Han, serves breakfast and lunch in the office every day. This morning, the first day after Passover, Han is delighted to put matzah aside and serve the fresh rolls Goldberg has brought to work. The atmosphere in Goldberg's office is expansive and relaxed, but security is never neglected.
Good morning, Mr. Han.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. I have my coffee, thank you, madam. I'm okay. Right. Yeah. Hurry. Come on in, I'm anxious to see that stone.
Goldberg's chief cutter brings in a stone in process on the wheel.
Frank,
really?
wait.
Yeah. It's coming along very good.
Ooh, look, really nice.
You have
It's gonna be a beautiful
the
notch.
legs comes right into the center
Right.
of the groove.
Right. You got a piece of it, so...
Bernie Greenblatt, Goldberg's expert on rough stones, joins in with a major piece of rough. This 41-carat stone, acquired for approximately $175,000, has just been cut in half on the diamond saw. Goldberg and his staff must now settle on a cutting strategy for each of the 2 pieces. How should the diamonds be shaped to maximize their value with a minimum loss of weight? With the right decision, Goldberg stands to make a hefty profit. A misstep will cost him money.
1842, the bigger one 2268.
You'd rather make an oval than an emerald.
I think maybe an emerald cut. No, it's a better delivery. You can get a short 10-carat emerald cut, right?
No, well, I will get a
Let's see how
10-carat
the
oval
model
out of
is,
this also.
A 10-carat oval?
Yes, sure.
And how about
Hey, you want a
emerald?
market?
Get the same weight, Bernie. You're better off with an emerald
This
cut.
imperfection
this
is
one.
closer
You know,
to
Woody,
this
would
end.
you prefer an emerald cut than an oval the same weight?
Yes.
You
You see, generally we make the emerald cuts on the crystals. But this one, I understand what he's saying, because it's got the flat points here. You're better off with the oval. I agree with you.
Not only that, you see the stone is a little bit fuller here.
Right.
So by tipping the table, I'm not losing much from the stone.
Okay, so we agree now. The biggest stone you're going to make into an oval because you want to
I give it
control
a
the
tip from
imperfection.
one end, and the
Okay.
imperfection comes
Fine,
out.
okay, so, and the smaller stone, we finally decided that we're going to have an emerald cut because
We get a
the
better
delivers are
result.
better, and it's the best thing to do with that particular
Very
stone.
good.
Okay, Bernie, I think we have it done right now. The oval for the bigger one, emerald cut for the smaller one, and I think we'll get the maximum percentage, have two beautiful diamonds that way.
Beautiful.
Right, okay. Harvey,
All
take it away
agreed,
and lots
yeah.
of good luck.
All right.
That's-
Goldberg's 41-carat diamond was mined here in South Africa. 1,700 million years ago, carbon many miles beneath this veld was crystallized into rough diamonds by unimaginable heat and pressure. Over the millennia, the rough stones, embedded in ore known as kimberlite, were forced to the surface through volcanic passages called pipes. The cost of mining is high. Kimberlite must be unearthed and moved in enormous volume. 8 tons of ore yield only 1 pound of diamonds. This mine and many others in South Africa are owned by DeBeers Consolidated Mines Limited, a multi-billion-dollar cartel which controls the production and supply of 80% of the rough diamonds mined worldwide. DeBeers rough diamonds end up in London at the cartel's central selling organization. Here, the rough stones are graded and packaged in boxes called sites. 10 times a year, the company summons licensed site holders like Bill Goldberg to London to receive their monthly allotment of rough. There is no bargaining with DeBeers. The middleman must pay the asking price. To refuse the site is to risk not being invited back the following month. DeBeers styles itself a benevolent monopoly, but is known among diamond men around the world as the Syndicate. Recently, however, with new mines in operation in Australia and increased production in Russia, DeBeers' stranglehold on supply has been slipping and prices have dropped. Site holders like Bill Goldberg are caught between the fixed price dictated by DeBeers and a volatile market. When Goldberg returns from London with his site, he must determine how to turn a profit on it. Those stones he chooses not to cut himself, he will resell to another manufacturer. Often the rough stones will change hands a number of times before they are finally cut.
How are things?
DeBeers claims to control 80% of the rough diamonds produced, but more and more rough seems to be available on the open market, often at better prices. For security reasons, these men did not want their faces shown. The seller is a broker working for a 1% commission. He might be representing Goldberg. The buyer is a manufacturer who needs additional rough to keep his cutting factory in Puerto Rico operating.
I can't use all of these.
Well, my fellow said that you might be able to throw out a certain amount.
What can I throw out?
20%.
20%.
Wow.
I really can't use many of these. I think they're just too small for me. And some of them are too imperfect. See, if they were all that quality, that's what I'm really looking for, that type of thing.
Well, I don't think that for $195 you want to
All
have
right,
all
so-
gem quality,
Well, I mean,
right?
I'll pay more, but then give me something of value here. The average, really, there's got a lot of these that are going to be larger or imperfect, and a lot of them will have to be cut down. What can I have these for?
Well, let me try to calculate now. 127. Actually, in order for me to come out, you'd have to pay me at least $255.
Absolutely out of the question.
You taking the best goods, you rejecting these over here. What am I going to do with them? Throw them in the river? So
No,
you're gonna
you'll have to sell them to somebody who uses melee and imperfect goods. Sell
I
them to
understand.
the Indians.
I'm only going to be able to sell this maybe for
You'll have-
$100 a carat.
That's
So
fine.
I'm losing on.
You're asking too much for the parcel in the first place. If you want, I'll go up to $205, and that's it.
The final price, $220. Yes, yes, no, no.
No, I'm sorry. I can't. 210, take it or leave it. Yes, yes, no, no.
Fine. My final
That's
price,
it.
$215. Okay?
No, no.
You want to
210.
split it
If
in
you
between?
want the goods, if you want
You
the
wanna
goods,
split it?
No, I've gone up more than I really want to, and if you don't want them at that price, then I can't take them.
The deal was struck for $21,000.
I'll give it to you.
That's all. That's all.
When you buy the rough, you must understand what you're going to get out of it, the yield. You must be able to put the imperfections into positions where you can get to it with the minimum loss of weight. For example, here is a stone which in the rough looks quite poor. 2 black carbon spots in the middle. The man who buys a diamond, if he understands well, he can line up these 2 imperfections and saw it right through the middle, bringing both imperfections to the surface. He will have 2 clean diamonds. This is where the knowledge comes in manufacturing diamonds, and where the profit comes in also.
You see, if you're cutting 2 carats, 3 carats in the rough, they're cut and dried. There's not too many options. They go like cheese. You slice them. I mean, there's an art to it. But when you get to abstract shapes that are all, and you got to figure out in your mind whether it's going to be a pear shape or a marquee or an oval, that's where the real skill comes in. Hello?
You got it long too, I see.
Oh, you left a message for Mr. Thames?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. And there's very few people that have that skill.
That's it.
The cutter's job is to get maximum brilliancy out of each stone with a minimum loss of weight. A 60% loss on a large stone is considered normal. These men are paid per carat cut with bonuses for large stones. The best earn $100,000 a year. The first step, called girdling, gives a diamond its basic shape. Next, the faceting begins. Today's standard cut entails 58 facets in all, each precisely angled according to a mathematical formula designed to produce maximum shine or fire. The stone is cut on a wheel impregnated with diamond dust. Only diamond can cut diamond. And because a diamond will cut only with the grain, its angle to the wheel must be constantly adjusted as each facet is incised. The value of the finished diamond will be determined by its cut, color, clarity, and size. Once the stones are cut and polished, the dealing begins again, and the haggling, which is the merchant's chief love next to profit itself. On the way to the retailer, a stone may change hands half a dozen times, its price appreciating as it goes. This inflation is only possible because the final markup at the retailer is never less than 100%.
We don't have to waste time. 13,000, that's the right price.
Did you have an offer on it?
No, I didn't have an offer on the stone.
Well, you take an offer 11.
11,000 for a stone like this color? I thought you're serious. 11,000? And I'll tell you what I'll do, 12.5. It's a D color. You know that's well below the market price of such a stone. 12,000.
You want to finalize? I'll give you 12,000, yes or no.
I gave you a serious price, 12.5. You know the stone is worth 13,000. I'm giving it to you for 12,500.
You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to split it straight down the middle. I want 12.5 for the stone. You want to pay 12, we'll make it 12,250 and we got a deal.
No, but I give you such a good price. I give you 12,000.
But I'm giving it away below the market. I think it's only fair.
Why do you give me a hard time, Tony? Stone is worth so much to bargain about.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll make it 12.1. It leans more towards 12. We'll settle it at 12, okay? Mazel and bracha.
But I need for 30 days.
12,130 days. You got it.
Mazel and bracha. Mach a geschäft.
Once it's done, and now he owns it already, you see? So at that point you say, Mazel bracha, because now that he owns it, you want him to have Mazel good luck and bracha blessings, because he's bought it, he owns it already. He might as well do well with it because you want him to be happy, because now that you've sold it, you're happy. You might even lose money on some items that you cut because it doesn't always go the way you want it to do in cutting, you see. Nevertheless, you've got the money to buy something else and possibly recoup what you might have lost on this particular deal. But now that he owns it, he's in the fire, and you pray and hope that he does well, so he comes back next week or tomorrow, and that's the ongoing relationship. But the Muslim bracha basically is for everybody.
Sometimes everyone isn't happy.
Are you Mr. Gondo? Yes, I am. Mr. Bach?
When a deal is disputed, either party may request an official hearing within the Diamond Dealers Club.
The executive director and
This high court of the industry is called a bestuur, a Dutch word meaning arbitration.
It's noted there, it was 60 days ago, and I've tried to contact him 3 or 4 times, and he's been very evasive, and he's told me all kinds of funny stories, like it's been hours. It's been a lot of stories. And just last week, he told me that he lost the stone.
You realize we are talking about a stone of $22,000 approximately. You got it 2 months ago, and he has approached you on various occasions. Are you in a habit of losing diamonds?
No. I'll find it eventually. Mr. Gondo, usually the memo price is but an offer, with the hope, of course, that Mr. Bach would then in turn make a counteroffer to you.
That's, I think, an opinion.
I'm asking you a question.
I expect that price. I don't put out goods at high prices. I think it's a fair price for the stone.
Has he ever given you an offer where you took off from the memo price?
That price I put on the memo is really what I think the stone deserves.
Mm-hmm. But how much did you discount last time?
I don't remember. I think possibly around 10%.
I didn't sell the stone. I lost it. I'm not making anything on it. I don't think it's right that Mr. Gondo should build in his profit and my loss.
I have not asking for interest. Now, I think I'm a better judgment of the present value of the goods. It's a difficult market to replace the stone, and I feel that I have been a gentleman about it, and I feel that it is my right to either ask for my stone back or the price on the memo.
Fine, gentlemen. I think we got it all in. You may be dismissed now, and you will be hearing from us in the mail in a couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A decision may be appealed only once.
My feeling is...
If a member of the club fails to abide by the court's ruling, his name and photograph are posted in all 18 of the diamond exchanges around the world, and no one will trade with him. He becomes a merchant without a marketplace.
Gentlemen, the decision is as follows. Mr. Gondo shall produce proof of ownership and cost price thereto. This verified cost price shall be paid by Mr. Bach in 30 days.
Expensive stones like Mr. Gondo's are Bill Goldberg's stock in trade. When he has a special diamond, he goes looking for a client. At other times, he starts with the client and then searches for the right stone. His quest often takes him off 47th Street and onto 5th Avenue to Harry Winston's, an exclusive jeweler with an inventory of rough and polished stones second only to DeBeers itself. This morning, Bill is here in response to a phone call from Armand Carnival, Senior Vice President of Winston.
He's the type of fellow.
Carnival has acquired 2 perfect diamonds he wants Bill to take a look at. Goldberg already has in mind a client to whom he might sell these stones if he can get them at the right price. Over the years, these men have done hundreds of millions of dollars of business together. Both are masters of the dealing game.
Bill, I'm glad you were able to come by this morning. The weather's great. I've got 2 gorgeous stones to show you, and I know you're not going to say no. I have a pear-shaped diamond, 1384, the finest color, D, and flawless. You've got to look at it. It's been a long time since you've seen one made as beautifully as that one.
Before I look at anything, go ahead.
I've got a 2036 emerald cut, which is a beautiful stone. It's on the square side. May not be the shape that you like exactly, prefer all the type, but this is a beautiful stone.
Listen, before we get involved, listen. I know the kind of beautiful work that you do, and I know your goods. Since I was a kid, I'm buying and dealing with this work. But you know what the times are. You know what interest rates are. Before I do anything, I happen to have a few important people that I could possibly place this goods with, and I would like to buy it, but unless you give me the right price, you know. So before I look at anything, I want to hear the right number.
But you've got to look at the stone.
Okay.
You've got to look at the stone. You can't just come off. Look at this, how beautifully it's made.
Right,
there's a price and there's a price.
Just 1 second.
Look at it. Absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
The finest perfection and the finest make.
However, and I repeat again, on today's market, big money we're talking about, unless you give me the right number.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Bill. You've got 2 great stones. The 2 stones together, I'll give you 1 price, and if you feel that it's superior, you can have it.
Wait a second. Before you give me the price, just let me do a little something of my own.
Goldberg calculates he has a deal at $1,360,000. Watch him work.
Okay, I'm ready. I mean, just give me the right, I have a figure what I think the stones are worth.
All right. The price for both stones, $1,450,000.
No good. No good.
Why do you say no good?
Because it's a, you know what the value of money is today. It's big money.
I'm aware of it.
They're nice. We're close, but I can't make any money at that price. The maximum, I had figured here a little under 1.3, but I would go for 1.3. That's what I would want to pay, $1,300,000.
I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll give it to you for $1,350,000, and that's it.
Well, okay, I mean, but under those conditions, I would want half 30, half 60-day terms.
I don't think that should be a problem. That would hold us apart.
Okay, then. Mazzaro. I have a pear shape which weighs a little over 14 carats. And I think with a little bit of trimming, I can have an exact pair with the 1384 that I bought over here. And I think I'll have a really exciting item. And the other item, the square, the 20-carat square, is a kind of a unique piece. While we have emerald cuts in that size range, we don't have an absolute square. And I think it kind of dresses up the inventory when some of our important client comes in, and there are 6, 8 clients in the world that come in and buy these items right over the counter.
Goldberg's clients are likely to be European millionaires or Arab potentates. But most of the over-the-counter sales here in the United States occur in shopping malls like this one. What gets sold here are engagement rings and other inexpensive diamond jewelry. DeBeers has spent millions of dollars creating a demand for such items because it has to move the small diamonds it must purchase from the producing countries. For 40 years, DeBeers' advertising agency in the United States has been NW Air. Because the cartel is forbidden by antitrust laws to maintain a legal presence here, Air is its only representative in the U.S. Stuart Minton Jr., Executive Vice President at Air, is in charge of the DeBeers account.
It was in the late 1940s that one of our young women who was writing copy on the DeBeers account came up with a line which is now advertising history, not only in this country but around the world. The line is, "A diamond is forever." And that line, in our judgment, has a great deal to do with what's happened to the diamond engagement ring tradition over these years.
Always helpful, DeBeers suggests that a 2-month salary sacrifice would be appropriate for this engagement ring. With ads like these, Air has managed to increase the sales of engagement rings from 50% of brides in 1941 to 78% today.
Do you have anything maybe a little larger?
Well, this is a nice one you'd like. It's $1,800.
I like this one. I like this.
Why did you decide to buy her a diamond engagement ring?
I think that was her idea. She really loves diamonds, and I love her, so we're going to get a diamond. This group of rings are in the $600 area. I also like this one over here. This one, the white one here? Yes. Yes, this is a third of a carat also, but the quality is much finer, and it's in the $1,300 range. It's a lot. Would you like to try it on? Yeah. Can I?
Oh, that looks pretty. I like it.
Do you like to? Would you like to take that?
Having achieved market saturation with engagement rings, DeBeers is now looking for new markets for diamond jewelry. The Air campaign is now aimed at 7 different market segments, including diamond jewelry for men and diamond gifts from dads to daughters. The company is working on yet another campaign designed to sell diamond anniversary jewelry.
I suppose my first question really is how big the market itself actually is. How many anniversaries might be celebrated, and do we have some that are more important that we should concentrate on?
We don't know how many are actually celebrated. We know how many there are. There are approximately 50 million marriages with husband and wife present.
I think the idea of a ring is ideal for this celebration.
Maybe it's something going back as simply as saying exactly what we want to do, which might be the anniversary ring.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The same way we built on and
right,
the diamond anniversary ring.
Just as we say the diamond engagement ring.
Yeah,
Just
right.
make it that direct and easily understood.
Right.
The new campaign will include print ads for magazines and newspapers and a series of TV commercials. This year, burdened with a huge inventory of diamonds it has to sell, DeBeers is moving its commercials onto prime time.
Suppose you show the husband coming home late at night on a train, and maybe it's raining and you're shooting through the window, and you move in and he's looking at this ring that he's purchased for his wife, and maybe a close-up of it, and you cut to her waiting for him again late at night at the station, and he's forgotten in the past, and she's not expecting anything wonderful at this point, and so he gets in the car and says, "Sorry, I'm late," and she says, "That's okay," and he says, "Happy anniversary."
would the husband ever really give the gift in that kind of atmosphere? Wouldn't he wait until he was home and they were more private and in their own home, maybe after dinner? Would he really just pull that ring out of his pocket as soon as he got off the train?
That is what I think the beauty of the commercial is. We set up this very romantic scene through the use of the rain and the beautiful music, and he's coming home, and what we want to do is catch her off guard.
For the best of times, for the worst of times, for what's been, for what will be. For all the years and all the tears, for what you mean to me. Because
sorry I'm late.
Made it
Happy anniversary.
A diamond you remember forever.
The diamond anniversary ring. The gift that says you'd marry her all over again.
Are diamonds forever? The founder of DeBeers thought so. 100 years ago, Cecil Rhodes declared, so long as a man and woman fall in love, the future of the diamond is assured. But are diamond prices forever? This will depend on DeBeers controlling supply and keeping demand high. Only then will middlemen like William Goldberg thrive and the romance of diamonds live on.
We are desperately searching for a 12-carat emerald cut. We have one that weighs 9, we have one that weighs 15, which is of a poorer quality. And this particular client must have a stone of a certain fine quality, which is in the vicinity of $300,000. We don't have it in our stock. We've searched the entire market for it. And at this particular point in this man's life, for whatever reason, it's very important that he give this diamond to his girlfriend. And what shall I say, that it seems at this point it is not a luxury, but a necessity in his life. And in our business life, it would be nice to be able to sell it and make a decent profit on it.
This program was presented by WGBH-TV, which is solely responsible for its content. Enterprise is co-produced with Learning Corporation of America.